Alright guys, it's time for an overload of witchy aesthetic. This is my monthly favorites for February and March. I'm combining them both because February was kind of one of those months where it was like bleh. And March was a little bleh. So I'm like, I don't know what it was, that beginning of Mercury retrograde a little early or what, because the shit hit the fan. First thing right off the bat, I'm like, my dad ended up back in the hospital. He should be getting out here pretty quick. Then my Jeep turned around and decided to almost tap out on me. I had to take out a small loan to get her repaired. I'm like, almost 2 G's later, she has new tires and a whole bunch of front suspension work that was ridiculous. But I'm trying to get another year or two out of this vehicle, and then I'm gonna go and buy a new one. I'm pretty sure that's what my plan is. But yeah, I was dealing with that car troubles, and so that meant that my budget for entertainment and stuff like that was like minimal to nothing. So once again, I was on the Netflix a lot. And I wanted to share one of the shows that I was watching. I have my list over here, okay? One of the shows that I was watching was called The Last Kingdom. This is a big series. I think there's only 2 seasons on Netflix. And I think it is one of the Netflix originals series or whatever, and I'm like, those just keep getting better and better. And this one is set in like the Viking era, so you're dealing with like Danes and Christians and witches, so there's a lot of like religious undertone and stuff, and the main character is super hot. Not only is he, but as well as a few other of the Vikings in this series. They are very handsome Vikings. And I wanted to give it a shout out because I really enjoyed it. I love, you know, like period shows and things like that. And I just really like fell into that world, and I didn't want to come out. I want more of this show too. And I'm like, I'm not sure exactly how historically accurate they are in like their props and their setups and their storyline and things like that, but that's not why I'm there. I'm not watching a documentary, I'm watching this storyline unfold. And I have to admit, there is, right smack in the middle of the series or whatever, there is a section where you get like 4 or 5 episodes because a witch comes in, and it gets witchy, and it gets witchy real quick, man. And it's like, it's just so cool, you know, sitting there watching it while she's there, you know. Like I said, you get 4 or 5 episodes, definitely heavily infused with witchiness. And so I highly recommend this show. If you dig like Vikings and the Danes and history stuff, this was pretty cool. It was a fun show to sit there and just sit on my couch and absorb. I loved it. The next thing I'm going to talk about on my monthly favorites is there was a day where I took my daughter and my dog for a walk out in the desert. You know, we do this every once in a while, especially when it's cooler. We try to get out as much as we can. You know, this is where I find all the things that I post on Instagram. You know, it's like bones and stones and dead bugs and feathers. You know, it's all out there in the desert. And this time we went a different direction than what we usually travel, this usual trail or whatever. And we started going out there, and I found a stone circle. Someone went out there, and it's not too far from my neighborhood. You know, it's not like a major walk or anything. Someone went out there and made this perfect stone circle, actually 2 of them. And one of them, you know, and at first I looked at it and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is a geocache. Someone has, you know, those things where you use the app, or you used to use those little devices and you would go and like treasure hunt basically. And it's like, treasure hunting for adults is geocaching, right? And I'm like, I used to do it way back in the days, but I haven't done that in a long time. So I'm like, and I know there's a million of them out here. So I believe it was someone's geocache, but the thing is that it was a rock hound's geocache. Like, the average person would sit there and be like, oh yeah, it's just a stone circle, whatever. No, when you get a little closer, you started looking at the rocks. There are things that you find in the desert that are, you know, they're very beautiful, and, you know, minerals, whatever, fossils, whatever, all kinds of things that you find. And I'm like, these stones were not the average just a rock, you know, like whatever. No, there were some crystals, and I thought it was really freaking cool. And, you know, I started looking a little bit closer, and I found a couple of them, and I actually took them from the stone circle with the intention of returning to the stone circle with some of the crystals and or rocks, gems, minerals, whatever, that I have found. Because clearly it's a rock hound. And, you know, you put those things out there because you're like, you know, people are going to see them, and you want other people to appreciate the things that you appreciate. And I'm like, I think it's just so fucking cool. I literally want to go out there and make a stone circle of my own, although I would probably do a pentacle, but that's beside the point. I'm kind of curious to see if I did that, would it last? Would people vandalize it? Would people take all the rocks? Would people just fuck it up? I don't know. So it's kind of one of those things, it's kind of like a test. And I really want to do it. And I should do it, huh? I should. And then I should document that shit, huh? Just be like, stone circle follow-up. And, you know, 3 months later, this is what it looks like. All the crystals are gone, but somebody else put this crystal there. That would be so freaking cool, right? So the two stones that I took from the circle are these guys. I don't know if this camera is really gonna do him justice, but the thing about this guy, I'm coming closer, you guys. The thing about this guy that really gets me, focus baby, focus, is the shape of the little crystals. They're very cubic, and I've never seen quartz like this be like cubic like that. It reminds me of like, kind of like how pyrite does sometimes. You get like cubes of pyrite, and I'm just like, this guy is such a trip. I think I'm gonna do some pictures on Instagram so I can get up close and kind of do like a shout out and be like, you know, to all my crystal hounds and my rock hoarders, and just be like, hey guys, do you know what this is? Because I'm really curious. I'm like, oh, it's just quartz or whatever, but the way it's just so square is what's throwing me off. It's making me think that it's more than just the average piece of clear quartz. So I got that guy, and then I got this guy. Coming up close. Can you see all that? It's so pretty. I know this camera is not going to focus. But yeah, it's got so much texture. I don't know if this is just a piece of like slate, maybe, but I'm not slate, but maybe, what's the word? The words escape me right now. It doesn't particularly feel very delicate like kyanite. I don't think it's like black kyanite. Could be wrong, I don't know, but he's so cool. He's so cool. Will you focus on this side? This is a really pretty corner. No, you're not gonna do it, are you? Not that much, huh? Well, anyhow, these guys are definitely a couple of my favorites because, and the stone circle, because it was just something so random and unexpected and just too freaking cool. All right, so next up, we're gonna get into some herbage. So this is a blend that I did a couple of weeks ago, I believe, and it is simply rose, chamomile, and jasmine flowers. I'm like, this guy is such a simple blend, but sometimes I think we all have a tendency to overcomplicate things. I'm like, I know I do this all the time in my practice where I just get so caught up in everything being all perfect and just right. And I'm like, this came to me and I just mixed it together, let it marinate in that glass for a few days before you crack it open and actually use it. I mean, you could use it right away if you want to, but I find when you let things kind of sit in that glass for a while, it just takes it to another level. So I'm like, this little mixture is very loving, very calming, very much one of those ones you could grab when there's a nice full moon, you know, or just when you need to kind of like calm down or de-stress kind of thing. Totally. Whenever you need that like self-care, loving vibe, totally. Literally, this mixture you could use for a tea. You could use it for an incense blend. You could smoke it, because I'm like, that chamomile is very calming. And I'm like, with the rose and especially the jasmine in there, so good. I'm like, the tea, oh, you could put this in your bath. You know, put it in a little sachet, drop it in your bath under the hot water, let it sit in there. I'm like, this is a good one, guys. And I'm like, kiss, keep it simple, sweetheart. This is a perfect example of how sometimes I have a tendency to overcomplicate and put like 10 herbs in a mixture when all it really needs is just a few complementary herbs all together. So I'm like, yeah, I'm really loving this triple shot. So again, it's rose, chamomile, and jasmine. Super easy. So next up, I'm gonna talk a little bit more herbage. Is this guy. This is one of my favorites as well. Bring him up so you can see him. This is from KILLSTAR. This is their, I think it's Crescent Moon Vial. Currently what's in there, I'm trying to get her as close as I can without falling over here. Currently what's in there is some amethyst and some lavender. Because I had so much stress going on during the month of February, and then in the month of March, my boss left my work. So we are a salon without a manager. And needless to say, that's caused a lot of stress. And the whole, like, you know, I don't know, I just wore this to work the other day and I was like, I could use all the help I could get. And so yeah, this is really cool. I love this freaking thing. It's so magical. I'm not even gonna, you know, and I bought it with the hopes of, oh my God, I hope I can open it. And you can. I am here to tell you, do it the right way though, because on the website, they don't show you how to open it. They really don't talk about it either. So when I first got it, I started going down here and I accidentally popped the little silver cap off. But thanks to E6000 or E5000, that glue that like glues everything, I fixed it. So what happens is you unscrew the crescent moon part. It's like a little screw and then it opens up. So then you can put whatever you want in here. If you want to put some mint with some aventurine, boom, there you go. That's like a prosperity mixture you could just have with you and on you. This is a good way to make like a little magical charm, little magical amulet type of thing that you can wear on you. Because I'm like, what I like is I can switch it up. If I feel like I need that extra protection, I could just put some tiger's eye chips in here, you know, and like some white sage or something like that. So I'm like, yes, I highly recommend this little guy. Just be careful about how you open it up. That's all I'm gonna say as far as a warning goes. So I'm like, yes, I love that little dude. He was an investment that was well worth it. Next up, I'm gonna talk about books. I have two for you. These two are ones that I got when I did a thrifting Goodwill haul. I want to say like months ago, and I finally got around to reading them. So this one, the first one up, this is Morgan Le Fay's Book of Spells and Wiccan Rites. It's Jennifer Reef. So I'm gonna bring it in so you can screen cap that business if you want to try to find this. This is an older book too. So this book if you are in the market, if you're on the dating website of trying to find a deity to work with, I recommend this book. I originally got it because I was like, okay, Morgan, alright, I want to learn a little bit more about her. I thought this was going to be much more of like a straight up grimoire with like spells and stuff like that. That's what I thought this was about. But once I got in there, it was completely apparent that it is a book about working with gods and goddesses, which is really cool if you are into that. And I'm like, just for example, I'm like, these guys, it literally has so many different things in here. First chapter, for strength and power. Athena, working with Athena, the warrior goddess. The hand of Hecate, for strength and success. The vessel of Isis, to awaken confidence and determination. The pentagram of Morgan Le Fay, for strength and wisdom. Healing and protection, prosperity and success. The 9 knots of Jupiter, for good fortune. Let's see here, what else? The power of Hermes, for success in a business venture. Literally, this is a good book. If you are, let's hear. The invocation of the maiden Diana. The promissory oath to achieve a goal. The blessings of Ishtar. Literally, to Inanna, the mother of summer, to receive her healing love. Let's see here. Banshee Matcha, to end malicious gossip. Oh my god, I need to do that one. The 100 names of the Great Mother. That's a goddess meditation. And that is one thing that I read that I was like, wow, that's really super cool. It even has, the last chapter in here is on the Celtic tree calendar and alphabet. And it talks about the 13 tree months and their correspondences and the Song of the Sacred Grove. So, as you can see, it jumps around quite a lot. I'm going to bring that in. You want to screen cap that or look at it a little closer. This is a good book to kind of like dip your toes in the whole I want to work with a deity water. You know what I mean? I highly recommend it for that. I would try going to Amazon or a used bookstore, see if you can find it, do it that way. That's how I did it. I think this book cost me like $3 at the Goodwills. So if you're into deities, check it out. Next up is this guy. This is Herbal Magic, and this is Jarena Dunwich. She's the author of Exploring Spellcraft as well. So here we go. Ooh, so glary there. There's a little better there. Okay, so again, Herbal Magic, M-A-G-I-C-K. This is a witch's guide to herbal enchantments, folklore, and divinations. This book does have a lot of divinations I haven't really heard of or heard people talk about much of either. So I'm like, that was really cool. One of the things I really love, one of the things I like about this book is literally in the foreword of the book, and I'm just going to read a little snippet here. It's like, the author is talking about being a good witch or a bad witch, and either be considered a white witch or a black witch, or you're a gray witch. All those labels, right? It's one of these things that she said here that kind of like really stuck with me, and she's talking about, she says here, I believe in magical self-defense and the teaching of lessons for the good of others, of course, when they are needed or when all else fails. If someone tries to inflict harm upon my loved ones or me, I will not hesitate to work my magic to bind or bring down a hex upon them. And if someone dispatches a curse to me, I do not turn the other cheek and take the attitude of let the gods deal with it. I send it right back to the sender. Those are my personal set of ethics. You may or may not agree with them, which is fine in either case, but I will neither compromise or hide what I believe in for the mere sake of being politically correct. That paragraph resonates with me so much. So if if you're ever curious at what type of witch or where I fall, that's a pretty close example to how I work, how my ethics are. So yes, the rest of this book, pretty much, it kind of feels a little bit like Scott Cunningham's herbal book. I have it right over there. Because it does break down each herb kind of thing, and it does get into different things though. Let's see here. Herbal superstitions. The tasseography, the whole tasseomancy, the art of reading tea leaves. There's a whole thing in here on that. There's a hemp seed divination, a rose dream divination, there's a clover divination, there's a yarrow love divinations, sage marriage divination, and apple peel divination. I'm like, there's a whole section in here on divinations, and by like there's a whole section in here on superstitions, or herbal superstitions, which is kind of cool too. Like I said, the tea divinations in there, healing by root and flower. What else do we got? We got herbs of the ancient sorcerers. Breaks it down. We got hoodoo herbs in here, and we've got gypsy herb magic. This book gives you just a little bit of everything. Magic and bloom. Oh, it talks about planting an astrological herb garden. This book is actually kind of really cute. I wish I would see more books like this. Garden fairy enhancements. Things to put in your garden to attract fairies. Oh, come on, piece of hair. Here, get out of there. Garden of your dreams. Oh, here we go. Herbs associated with dream magic. It goes into that. What else do we got here? I'm trying not to... Oh, and then it goes into the whole herbal correspondences, which very much is like the Cunningham book. I just wish it had a little bit more information, and I don't know, it kind of breaks it apart differently. Then she goes into... That's quite a lot. That's quite a big section for the herbal correspondences. You know, if you're into knowing what the planetary ruler, the elemental is, the botanical names, the pagan names. So yeah, that's pretty much about it for this book. This was a really cool book. You know, it's so funny though, because I really enjoyed that front section of the book, and then there were different things in here that I haven't heard people talk about very much, and it was kind of like refreshing to get away from the same old. Don't get me wrong, there's a nice chunk in here that feels like it's straight out of Cunningham, but there's also different things in here too. And I mean, like, this book cost me $2.99 at the Goodwill. I'm pretty sure you guys can find it if you're looking for something that I would consider is more of a light read. It's not very heavy, you know, like you don't feel like you're studying for a college exam. It's pretty light, you know, and it flows really nice. I'm pretty sure you'll kill this book right away. Like, you will read through it really, really quick. What else was I say? Oh, there is a section there. I mean, there are sections in here that I kind of just skipped because I was like, I'm not really interested in that. Like when they were talking about deities and stuff like that, because I don't work with any deities. I'm like, that's just something I'm not really into. So I glossed over that section. So yeah, herbal magic. I'm all about them herbs. You know that. So one of the last things I'm going to share is something just for fun because I can't help myself. It's too cool. And it's this. Dun, 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 dun. Look at that. And you're like, what the hell is that? Well, guess what, guys? I'm going to try not to blind you. Here it comes. Oh, and I dropped the thingy. It's a palette. And the eyeshadows are shaped like miniature coffins. And you get a mirror, and it's got the death head moss all over the background, and a complimentary moon phases along your mirror. Isn't that just crazy badass? I mean, seriously. And these are the shades. Pretty cool, right? I'm like, I just have been reaching for this palette the last week and a half or so, and I'm like, it's just too freaking cool. I mean, look at that. A giant death head moth. Who doesn't need a palette that's shaped like a giant death head moth? Everybody. Yes. Oh, the other good thing about this damn thing, $12.90. And I believe Blackcraft is another one of those vegan and cruelty-free brands. So, if you're into that, check that out. And that, my friends, is my monthly favorites for this month. You want to keep track of what I'm doing on the fly during the daily grind? Go to my Instagram. Links will be down below. And I will see you guys in the next video.